This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Saturday? It is the Joe Gaither Show. Yeah, you're asking what's going on. It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We are live in Nashville, ready for semifinal Saturday. We're live in Nashville, hanging out with you with Mason Woods, listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, that sort of thing. Watching us on the Bama Central YouTube channel. Oh, my mercy. Yeah, we're coming to you live from Nashville because Alabama won last night. We finished our work with Mason Woods. I asked Hunter was the last one working last night. 3:30 was the final clock out time. As it was crazy in Nashville. Alabama made so much history. We're going to talk about that today. First, we encourage you to follow Mason Woods at what's to follow Bama Central for all the great coverage last night. I think we had 6, 7, 8 stories posted on the website from the basketball game, inside the locker room, all of the action last night in Bridgestone Arena. Now, you can also check out our locker room interviews from on the Bama Central YouTube channel. You've got time with Terry Reed. He talks about how he's been feeling. Grant Nelson talks about how his injury status has been feeling as well on our Bama Central YouTube channel. All the guys are in there just elated. So good morning. And welcome into a special Saturday edition of the Joe Gaither Show. Mason Woods, how are you, sir? How in the world is it in Tuscaloosa with the storm? They've been rolling in. We had an out of Bridgestone about 1 last night, and it was very windy, but it had not picked up any sort of precipitation. Go ahead.
Yeah, it really was not too bad last night. You know, I walked outside this morning. I mean, I could hear it. You know, I went to bed probably around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning or so, you know, watching some things on, you know, just doing my thing last night. And, you know, right as I went to bed, I started to hear some wind picking up and, you know, you saw or heard a little bit of thunder, saw a few lightning strikes outside, but it really, at least from what I could tell, didn't get too bad last night. I think tonight is supposed to be really when it gets, you know, at its worst. So we'll be watching the weather here, and hopefully it doesn't postpone anything. Hopefully it doesn't cause any 2008 SEC tournament situations.
Yeah, absolutely. We hope you and yours are staying safe in the weather. Be weather aware over the weekend, as it's going to get nasty. So Mason, the reason I got your butt up this morning on Saturday, we used to have a friend who would send a silly GIF. I've got to drive all the way to work on a Saturday. The reason I got you up is Alabama rolled last night, 99-70 over Kentucky. I think I picked 83, 86, I think is what I had. I know Hunter said something 93, 81, maybe 93, somewhere in that ballpark, something. You took the Tide 100 and something to a little. They didn't break the 100 barrier. I
bad beat.
No, that's me. I definitely jinxed it tweeting about that. I said, Alabama's got 90 with 3 minutes left. Mason's going to be right.
That's tough.
What'd you think of the game last night, brother?
I mean, dominating performance. Like, that was just from start to finish. This was, you know, this team, I think, in consecutive games, going back to the game against Auburn, has put together 2 of their best performances of the season back to back in the time of the year when you need these kinds of performances. So I am very, very, I have a lot more confidence in this team heading into March Madness than I did, you know, going maybe before that Auburn game after we were looking at, you know, what was it, 4 losses in 6 games, something like that. So I feel pretty good about where this team's at. You know, I think they have kind of found a little bit of juice about themselves. They've found that extra gear that they kind of dig deep and got into, especially last night, you know, extending that lead in the second half. Because, I mean, you took a 7-point lead in the half or something like that, and you come out with a 29-point lead. So you have to feel great about that. I think it was, I don't think anybody on the court played a bad game.
Yeah, no, I mean, first, wonderful seats. You can see that on my social media machine. And thank you so much, SEC, for having us in those great seats. I can't wait to be there again. But man, I don't know where to start with this box score. I don't know where to start with this game as far as talking about it. The first thing to me, I think you have to start with LeBaron.
Yeah.
Because
Sensational.
for two reasons. One, because obviously he's leading in scoring, but what LeBaron does in the first half. When does Otega Owe go out? Let me click on his little line right there. My man Otega Owe got subbed out at 16:21 and didn't get subbed back in until 13:20 because in the first half because LeBaron takes a breakaway layup right through his face. Right through his face.
Sure did.
Which was amazing. Perfect.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a basketball play.
Yeah, I'm sitting there tweeting, oh, they're about to review this, and people are in my mentions. Well, it was a basketball play. It was a normal play. I'm like, yes, it is, but the dude got hit in the face, and
he's gushing blood all over the floor. They're going to review it.
You know, how, I don't want to go this way, but you know how society has gone with head injuries and contact to the hand,
sure.
and that's what they, so they're going to review it.
It was pretty gruesome. Like, I don't know how well y'all could see it from where you were, but I mean, on the broadcast, you know, you get the close up, like they zoomed right in on him as he went to the floor, and it was immediate. I mean, you know, he falls to the floor, rolls over, covering his face, and you just see blood dripping down his hands onto the floor, and it's like, oh my god, what happened? I thought he had a bloody nose, you know, but I mean, he busted his lip wide open. It was a serious elbow. There's a lot of they were moving quick there. Got to get out the way on those Euro steps.
Amazing. Let me see if you're on my same track. I think that basically set the tone for both teams. My best player has gone to the locker room with an elbow to the face. Now, look, I don't think LeBaron, I really don't think it was intentional. I don't think there was anything dirty. LeBaron just was driving hard like he should. He's a future NBA player. You're going to have to drive hard. and that's just what you do. Go straight to the rack here. And I think it showed really both programs' mindset. Alabama follows LeBaron's lead as a whole, aggression, and really in the second half, the defense. So we'll get to that. But like in Kentucky, you know, without Lamont Butler,
sure.
I think playing the day before, getting taken to the limit by Oklahoma, which wild, anyways. I don't know. I just think that play was emblematic of the night.
No, I think so. I think tone setter is a good way to put it. I think from that point, you know, and you know, I don't want to. None of this is to say that Lamont Butler is not a tough, or I mean, not Lamont Butler, but that Otega Owe is not a tough player or anything. Like,
sure, no.
You know, you leave the court with a gash a half-inch long in your lip, and you go get stitched up and come back out and play. Like, it's pretty impressive. But that certainly changed things, and I certainly think he had a bit of a different attitude after that. You know, I think he was playing the game a little differently. Was maybe playing a bit reserved. And I can't blame him again, but I think that was kind of the moment where a lot of things changed in that game because it was, you know, not necessarily back and forth, but it was not okay. This is Alabama's night and Kentucky's just playing along. You know, it was a little bit more even at that point in the game, and from that point, Alabama just took it and ran with it.
Well, Taga's their best player, and look at his his statistical inputs after he gets hurt. He gets put back in at 13:20 in the first half. Turnover, bad pass, 2 missed free throws, missed jumper, turnover, bad pass, sub out, sub back in at 5:40. Missed jumper, sub out, sub back in at 20 seconds. He gets a rebound at the end of the half, but that's it. Like, basically,
just rattled him.
Exactly. His half is bunk, which is, look, you got hit in the face. That's not his issue. But what it did to Kentucky's team is no one was able to step up and close that gap. And sure, you only had a 7-point lead at halftime. You could have made it much larger. But let me see. The 3-point shooting in the first half, it was terrible for Alabama, right? Yeah, 2 of 13. 2 of 13. And so you're up 7. You have forced Kentucky into 8 turnovers. You only had 4 yourself in the first half. Oh, man, it was just amazing.
They did everything last night that we've asked them to do all season. Like, they did all of it. Defense was great. They only turned the ball over 10 times. You guys were cutting to the basket effectively. It was just everything. You know, everything clicked together the way it was supposed to.
Who are you going to miss more? LeBaron or Mark? Who else is gone off this team? LeBaron, Mark, Grant, Chris Youngblood.
Grant's gone. Chris Youngblood. Yeah.
But
the whole starting five.
But am I missing LeBaron the most?
I think I might. Yeah. It's just his style of play, and we've been saying it since the first game of the year. He does everything. He is everywhere on the court. Any, loose ball, he's right there trying to go after it. He is constantly, tipping passes on defense and breaking things up, causing turnovers. He just does everything so well. He has such a natural instinctual feel for, just the game at any point. He always feels like he knows where the ball is going, even if it's not in his hands. He's a very, very impressive player. And last night, I think it really all clicked for him for, he's had great games this year, but I think that was probably his best performance last night in the Crimson Tide uniform. It seemed like everything was going his way.
We talked about the layup going through it, taking away space, but that probably wasn't my most impressive play for the Baron. This may be like, I'm sitting there in press row, and I'm sitting there like going, "Did you see that? Can you believe that?" Thank goodness Jack Knowlton, Tide Illustrated, is so nice. Just be like, "Yeah, it was so great." He's like, "That was awesome." Love you, Jack. Appreciate that. You're down in the first half. Kentucky is losing by 4, right? So it's still a really tight game, and you get just some Kentucky action. Kentucky gets a breakaway cutter through the middle lane, and they find him, they pass it, and it's about to be a 2-hand jam to cut the lead from 4-2. And LeBaron comes backside, and just enough pressure on the basketball. He gets a credit for a block at 4:13 in the first half. He gets enough pressure on the basketball that the dude misses the dome, and it would have brought the house down. At this point, Mason, Big Blue Nation is bleeping real. Oh my God, it is so real.
That was a nice play. It was a foul.
No, it was clean. He got the block. Okay. Well, you're looking at it again. I've got the real time.
I watched it. They showed the replay close up 4 or 5 times on the broadcast. He got all hand.
No,
it was and Carl Ravik was trying to defend himself through it, even though he's sitting there watching it just go all hand. But it was still a nice play because at the end of the day, it goes in the stat book as a block, so it doesn't matter. But no, he got a little lucky on that one.
Okay, dang. Okay, well, from my perspective, that was so clean. That was clean.
It looked like it was awesome, and the announcers, both of them, immediately on the broadcast. I think someone said like, "Oh, I don't know about that," and then he was immediately met with like, "Oh no, that's a clean block. That was clean. That was clean." And then they showed the slow motion replay, and it looked like a high five.
Well, all right.
My favorite play was the steal he got, and then it goes behind his back right at the 3-point line, top of the key, maybe right a little outside it, and then just weaves his way through, puts up a circus shot, gets the layup to go, and I think at that point Alabama was already up, and they were on a little bit of a run, but that just continued the run and put Kentucky in more of a hole. Man, he was so impressive last night. I heard this, the broadcast mentioned it multiple times, how many NBA people were in the building, and I'm sure they were just losing their minds over how well he was playing because it was amazing.
He's not getting drafted over Trey Johnson or Cooper Flagg or any of those jokers.
No,
but my man, you got to take him. You got to take him as high as you can get him.
I mean, he may get very lucky, find himself in a pretty favorable situation with not a very bad team.
No, that's true. That would be great. Maybe he'll go to a team.
Maybe not the J.D. Davison route. Don't get relegated to the G League, but somebody who's right in that, a middling team, right in that, maybe like 12 to 18 range.
All right, so I want to move from LeBaron. You got anything else on LeBaron?
He was awesome. Really, all you can say.
Besides, I'll miss you.
Yeah, I will miss him very much. They did mention on the broadcast, and they mentioned Hunter's story last night about the drawing. Yeah, they did.
Mason Woods and Hunter's across the room. So
yeah. So that was cool. They did mention the LeBaron Philon drawing when he was a child. What was it, 50? Whatever the score was, hitting the game winner. I will continue my academics at the University of Alabama and beat Auburn. Yeah, they talked about that. So that was pretty cool.
Hunter, Mason's telling us that the broadcast brought up your article and brought up the drawing last night a couple times. Yeah, that's so great, man. Well, they probably didn't say Hunter Cyber's article. They probably talked about, that's great. Good for you, man. That's awesome. Hey, uh, Mason, were you watching about halftime when they came back from halftime?
Ooh, I don't. I mean, I don't remember exactly when it
You,
was.
you were probably letting Rusty out for a bathroom break, but your boy had his 15 seconds of fame right behind whoever
Oh,
the
did
announcer.
you?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you remember like Down Central has been in these seats for a long, long time. My predecessor, Joey Blackwell, would always be on television during the SEC tournament, and I got several texts. Thank you, everybody who sent me a message. And right as you're coming back from halftime, and thankfully, I saw the TV camera coming, so I like just sat there and kind of just
Set
wasn't
up a little
looking
bit.
at my phone and wasn't just picking my nose, wasn't making a scrunchy face or anything. Just stand there and sit still for a second. So that was fun.
That's good.
No, do you know when they talked about the picture of
Ooh,
Hunter started
I
dragging? Or
yeah, I don't know that I could. I want to say second half. That's maybe the best I could give you, but I really don't know. I think it was it was during one of those stretches where LeBaron had a few kind of bang bang plays back to back. So if you can find it in the play by play, maybe that'll help you out there.
he says he thinks second half when the Baron was going on one of his tears. Let's talk about Jaron Stevenson.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Okay, Jaron. Here's the thing, Mason.
man.
You look at Jaron. You look at Aiden Sherrill. You look at Cliff last night. Even Grant. And it's just like, oh, everything we've been just bitching and moaning
Hmm.
about for the last month and a half. It's like, oh, we gonna click in? I don't know what it was about going down to Auburn.
That lit something.
Yes. The team is 0 of 9 from 3 point range in the first half to kind of get going. And look, Jaron has been the enigma of the year. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, we know why he's out there, obviously. And I'm sorry, but this last month, I have been out on the Jaron Stevenson camp, being like, what are you doing, Joker? Almost every day, almost every game.
Yeah.
But he just kept firing and kept attacking, aggressive last night. Gets himself. He made the first three. That's why I'm bringing him up. He made the first three. He busted the lid off the rim for the team, and ends up with 16 points, 6 of 8 from the floor. I mean, you can ask anybody. 6 of 8, perfect, perfect, perfect.
Sure.
3 of 5 from beyond the arc. So maybe you're letting it fly. Where have you been, Jared? Where has this been? And how do we just bottle this and just say, hey, buddy, this is you as a player. You want to go to the NBA? You want to be a lottery guy? Remember last year you were flirting about leaving to go to the league? This is how you do it.
I don't know what what Nate Oates has told him, what someone else, whoever it has been, has told him to get him to lock in the last two games, but just keep keep the foot on the gas, whatever they're doing, because it's working. Because like you said, he has fit his role absolutely perfectly for this team. Last night was, I mean, like prime S example of it. It was like he just did anytime you needed a just someone to step in. Here's a here's Jaron Stevenson to make a big play in crunch moment, and it was just, I don't know. I'm with you on he had been playing a little bad kind of leading up, but the last two games he's been fantastic, and I don't know what it is, but Nate Oates has figured something out with him, figured out some way to motivate him differently, figured out a way to tell him to, I don't know, attack things differently. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, they need to keep doing it.
So Mason, so much history was made last night. Alabama breaks a 12-game losing streak to Kentucky in the SEC tournament, spanning 42 years.
That's wild.
That's insanity. I think I thought it was 83, 87, 83 or 87 was the last time you beat Kentucky in the SEC tournament. And you didn't just beat them. Like, Big Blue Nation heading for the exits with 8 minutes left in the second half. There was a lady last night, Mason, who was sitting right behind us. And if you're a fan, this is your prerogative. And part of me loved it, but part of me wanted to turn on a puncher. Just screaming with the shrill of her voice every time there was a free throw. Like, I'm not even going to imitate it. It was that awful. It was just the highest pitch.
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do.
And I mean, the Kentucky fans, they were into it. It was call a foul, he's fouling, he's holding. And you had a guy behind us the entire first time. Every time Ortega had the ball, he can't guard you. He can't guard you. Just like they were. And these are grown people. These are full-grown adults. These are not college students. These are not high school people. These are not insane people like I am. I just loved it. So you break a streak, 42 years of losing Kentucky at the end, and you do it by sending them to the exits with 8 minutes left. I'm just so impressed. The second half defense, apparently Nate Oates goes in the locker room and just, I don't want to say reads in the right eye because that doesn't sound right, but it was an intense is how I characterize it.
That's how it was kind of described on the broadcast a little bit.
I was fortunate. Okay, so the internet situation in Bridgestone, some places good, some places not. I'm trying to put out my little halftime call. Let's leave us a voicemail. And look, y'all did leave us some voicemails. I don't know how to play them remotely because if you're not watching this, you can see we're doing this on our phone, not on the computers like we are in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. So I'm putting out my little call now, and I'm like, I can't get it to send. I'm going to go to the back to get it to send. And so I'm literally right next to the Alabama locker room. And the boys go in, and the coaching staff, the entire coaching staff, got in a little huddle, and they looked and they were like, this is too public. And they went into the little curtain. And I'm just sitting there like, just kind of watching from 15, 20 minutes. Like, I'm not trying to be in your huddle. And they snuck into this curtain, and it was just,
I like it.
Just buzzing. And then they go into the locker room, and it's just like X, Y, Z, A, B, C.
Whatever it was, it worked. I mean, I'm looking at the stat broadcast here. Second half points per possession for Kentucky, 0.842. Golly.
To the number 8 offensive efficiency team in the country.
Now, Kentucky couldn't hit the broadside of the barn last night. I mean, 26% from, he finished 37% from the floor. That's not bad. 26% from three was atrocious. But I think a lot of it was Alabama forcing them into bad shots.
Oh, yes. It's talked about ball pressure. Talked about getting up on the three-point line. You force these turnovers. And other thing on the defense, it's underrated. Scroll down on your stat broadcast and look at those fast break points. Alabama did turn the ball over 10 times. Okay, that's under our 12 or fewer that we're living with that. But off those 10 turnovers, you only generated 3 fast break points.
Wow.
They scored 6 points off 10 turnovers, 3 of them coming on the break. And you get in the locker room afterwards, and the fellas are all like, yep, coach was like, you allow a transition layup or dunk, you're coming out. And I didn't want to do that. Pretty much to a man, they almost all said, like, I have a transition defense. They're like, I didn't want to get subbed out. Coach said if we let a layup, we're coming out. We're coming out.
I mean, that's how a Kentucky gets back into this kind of game. Is in the fast break like that. That is how Alabama extends their lead in this game, but it's also how you can let Kentucky get back into it in that situation. So I understand why that would be your emphasis there, and obviously the team responded.
You put Max freaking Chernowski into an SEC quarterfinal game against Kentucky.
Man, if he had hit a 3, Big Blue Nation might not have survived.
I said, Max, your first game SEC tournament experience is a little bit different from last year's, right? Man, Max just just sits on the bench last year because you get your doors blown off by Florida, and he's getting into the game to say goodbye to Kentucky. I just am so. It's okay. We need to take this 2 different directions to close this down. We're not trying to suspend your entire Saturday. You're trying to hunker down from the storms, and we're trying to get over to Bridgestone to watch Auburn. I was going to say watch Auburn lose, but that means Tennessee wins. To watch Tennessee lose, but that means Auburn wins. Lose-lose situation in that first game. but we're trying to get over there for it. So let's take this program into two different directions. First, I'm going to tell you and thank you, Warren Tire and Auto. They've been a Tuscaloosa and University of Alabama staple since 1961. They're in the third generation of family ownership. Warren Tire and Auto is the go-to place for all your automotive needs. They've got two great locations to serve you. For tires, brakes, and alignment, reach out to the 15th Street location, 205-759-5505. For all your other automotive needs, reach out to the University Boulevard location at 205-758-2739. That's Warren Tire and Auto Center, a Tuscaloosa and University of Alabama staple, and a proud sponsor of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. The two directions I want to take this. I want to take it to Florida game tonight. This afternoon, really. And I want to take us into really the shift that we've seen in these 8 days. So let's start here. Everett Osborne jumps in on the Facebook. We appreciate you watching us, Everett. He commented already. It's a special Saturday show. Look, if Alabama loses the game, then we'll just do a show on Monday. If Alabama wins the game, I will do another 20, 30 minutes tomorrow morning about Alabama, Florida, and Alabama versus Auburn / Tennessee. All right, so let's talk about Florida.
Alex Condon is coming.
Yeah, okay. I'm in the tunnel. The guys are coming off signing autographs, all rah celebrating. They should. Great performance. A+. And Grant's the last one in the tunnel. And the Florida fan, as Grant is leaving, he goes, "Watch out, Grant! Alex Condon is coming for you." And Grant did not respond at all. Grant,
sure.
Just the stone face, just kept on walking. Didn't even have any body language reaction. Oh, dear God, Alex Condon is coming. So, how do you not have what happened on 10 days ago, the 5th, right? March 5th. How do you avoid? I mean, it was only a 5-point loss, right? Was it 99-94? Something like that. Isn't that what I wrote last night? It wasn't as bad. Yeah, 99-94. It wasn't as bad as it felt as far as on the score, because it felt like Florida absolutely dominated Alabama.
Yeah,
it's a 5-point game. Only a few things need to change. One of them, obviously, is defending Florida, defending Alex Condon.
Mm-hmm.
Before the tournament, I would have taken an absolute loss right here. I said, this is going to be 15 points. You're not going to be able to defend them. And watching Florida against Missouri yesterday, I thought, wow, this might be the best team in the country. They shot like 80% for the entire game. They shot an absurd rate. Well, let me say what it was. They shot, it was really, really stupid. They shot yesterday against Missouri.
61%.
60% and almost 40% from three. 38% from the three-point line. 18 of 23.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's because they get good shots. I mean, yes, they're skilled. They're very skilled, but they also take good shots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mason. What do you think about today? Is this team, as the corner that they've apparently turned, is it going to be enough to beat the Florida Gators?
I think it might be, because I think a lot of it starts with your guard, your defense from your guards around the perimeter. Because in that game against Florida, the last game, it felt like a lot of times, Florida's guards were kind of just having their way, driving toward the basket, and then opening up the lane for an Alex Condon to finish off with a big dunk or a layup underneath. Because Cliff had to sag off to help with the defense from the on the other guard there. So. Given that now we've seen for 2 games, Mark Sears, Aiden Holloway, Chris Youngblood, and company play better defense, LeBaron Philon as well, play tougher defense around the perimeter. And also, you do apparently have Darian Reed back. I don't know how much, what kind of capacity you'll have him in today, but he is back apparently. So I would think that you have a much better chance, because you hopefully won't have to have Grant and Cliff slacking off of a guy like Alex Condon as much, because your guards will be able to maybe handle themselves a little better.
Ooh, I'm definitely concerned, but excited, really, because
sure,
I mean, I know I picked Alabama to win 10 days ago against Florida, but I guess that was more just on vibes in Coleman Coliseum. They're so dang talented. They're so. Walter Clayton Jr., right? Walter Clayton Jr., he is just a killer. And they've got enough guards, enough good guards that are effective. Golly, that front court is so
Yeah, I mean, you had
talented.
4 players against Missouri with 15 or more points. You know, it was Alex Condon almost got into double figures. Yeah, that's a good team. It's going to be a tough challenge for Alabama. I think they are motivated a bit differently than they were the last time they played, so that plays into it a bit.
Yeah,
But
that's another going back. You remember Roy from Lake Gunnersville calling and talking about defensive intensity and some teams. He was comparing it to the NBA, really, as
mhm.
far as not playing regular season defense and then turning it on to the postseason. I wasn't going with him on that take, but it certainly looks like a switch has been flipped.
Yeah, it does. It seems like they have whatever it is. Again, I don't know what it is, but they have found something, and it is working. And they need to continue to, keep the pedal to the metal on that one.
All right. Well, what if I told you, Mason Woods, that last night's performance moves the Crimson Tide to fourth in offensive efficiency? All right, great. We don't care. But you are now watching the 26th most
Ooh.
efficient defense in the country.
You feel pretty good about
Whoa!
that. You feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I just am very impressed
I
with
mean,
what
what
you're
they
seeing
finished last
lately.
year, won 100 and whatever.
105, I think.
God. Night and
105.
day difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, I don't want to waste too much of your time on this Saturday, Mason. You got to watch out for the dogs and the cats and Miss Melissa in this stormy day. We hope everybody stays weather aware. Goodness gracious,
Yeah.
not a day to be messing around. I'm really not one to hype up weather, but it seems like today's going to be gross. So please
Yeah,
be
no, I'm
safe.
seeing like complete both ends of the spectrum. I'm seeing, people being like, "Oh my God, I'm not usually scared by this, but now I'm actually kind of terrified," and then other people being like, "It's the same it always is. Who cares?" So, I'm kind of sitting in the middle here where we will, we've got we are ready to bunker down if we need to, but I think it'll hopefully be all right. It more often than not usually is, so we'll be okay. Hopefully,
Oh yeah, whatever happens, whether you
everything works out.
yes, don't sleep in the nude tonight. Keep your shoes close by. And get ready to watch Alabama. I
Get some
guess it's going to be.
flashlights and candles ready, maybe in case you lose some power.
That's right. You got your transistor radio in case you lose power, so you can listen to Chris Stewart and Brian Pafton.
Oh yeah, I'll have to do that. I'll have to just get in the car and crank them on.
I shoot Grimes' hand after the game, late. Saying, "Do you ever think you'd see Alabama beat Kentucky 3 times that season?" And he just smiled and said it was pretty sweet.
Man,
First time ever you've built a 3-game winning streak over Big Blue Nation.
Nate Oates owns Kentucky.
Yeah, think about where you were. Think about these 12 months. 12 months ago, Kentucky's firing / moving on from Calipari. Actually, I mean, they've still got to go to the tournament, but before they do that, but that's where we are in the timeline. And you're basically having whispers of Nate Oates.
Mm-hmm.
Nate Oates want to go to Kentucky. And now 12 months later, he's got a practice facility that's almost done. He's got himself a contract that was upped, and he's now beaten Kentucky 3 times in the season. The first time ever in Alabama history.
He probably celebrated with a lemon perfect? Is that what Katie told us he drinks?
Yes. Katie was in the post game the main press conference with Coach Oates, and Coach Oates, I love him. Great, it was fun to cover. But he drinks like at these press conferences. He drinks like he's never drunk water in his life. It's just like, he's not like, oh, I'm introducing you to water. Oh, this is great. He gets up to the podium, and what's on the podium? No bottles of water. Gatorade.
Oh,
Looks at it like,
of course.
Katie tells us he went through like 5 Gatorade cups of water. He had like a little cup, and he was just going back.
That's funny. I mean, I guess when you're yelling for 2.5 hours or whatever, like he does, your throat probably gets a little dry.
Mason, you're on your computer for this. Will you search and let me know what the ticket prices for today's session are? Because I'd just like to know if I don't know what they were yesterday online, but with Kentucky losing, I can only imagine that it's going to be a pretty easy ticket to get into to Bridgestone this afternoon if you're close by. I don't encourage anybody to be on the roads, but if you're close by,
it looks like for session 7, so number 1, so I guess that would get you both games. You can get in for $76.
$76 for a 2-game ticket. I think that's a pretty good deal.
That's not too bad.
Well, Mason Woods, let's get out of here. I still need to watch Friday Night SmackDown and take a shower, eat some breakfast, get ready for these semifinals. You picking Auburn or Tennessee? Can I pick death?
Yeah, can I actually just have Rick Barnes and Bruce Pearl fight each other at midcourt, gladiator style?
Black hole in Bridgestone?
Oh, that'd be good. Just the floor opens up. I'll take Auburn. I think Auburn probably wins this one.
I will too.
Are we getting set up for a potential third Iron Bowl of basketball?
That will make me suicidal on Sunday.
That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a long day. Got to get through Florida first.
That's right. And let's do that. We will get out of here right now. Thank you so much for watching us on the Bama Central YouTube channel, listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. We're going to go head over to Bridgestone Arena, watch Auburn and Tennessee, then we'll be covering Alabama and Florida. Please give us a follow on the Bama Central social media machines to keep up with all of our coverage. Katie Windham and Hunter DeCyber are writing great pieces, and I'm chipping in here or there as well. So we're getting it ready. We'll talk to you at least on Monday. I'll say this, if Alabama wins, I'll have another show tomorrow morning to preview whatever the final is. If they lose, we'll talk to you on Monday. How about that? That'll be the plan, and we'll execute that as we leave. I hope you all have a great day. Be safe. Call a friend. Keep an eye on your neighbors. Keep an eye on the dogs and cats. And we'll talk to you very soon on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.